there is this group on Facebook called Community of Metal Designers, and I just found it recently. They have this challenge, which is, I think it is monthly or it is held every 2 months. I'm not sure yet. It's basically just someone picking a word. Usually it is the winner of the previous contest, and the active members are trying to come up with a metal logo that of that word, and it is fitting. It fits the metal aesthetic. At least this is the text of the rules of this contest. And again, I want to talk about so much stuff, and it is kind of difficult to get it all together, and this is not my native language, so it is not easy. I wanted to compete because it's cool. It's just competing just kinda spices up just practicing on your own. It's I'm not sure if this makes sense, but it is way more exciting to compete and make something like this compared to redesigning a logo of this girl and just uploading somewhere, and it will have really bad social reach and nobody will give a fuck about it. And this way I am learning and competing, and I am seeing all these cool logos the other members made, because fuck, some of these people are really talented and skilled designers. Really, there is 3 of my favorites so far. I don't think I'm gonna win, but I also don't consider this, I spent like 10 hours on this, and I don't consider it wasted time because I practiced, and I really need to practice if I want to work for bands, because my logo works or pre-made short designs, they don't sell. They just this quality of my works is still not really marketable, or I just don't figured out how to market it yet. But I'm working, and this group is inspiring. I always wanted to be a part of some kind of community of artists, and I was in many different Facebook groups before, and I must say most of them are just garbage. It's shit. Many of them have, like, I don't know, thousands and thousands of members, and it's just all people trading insults, and there is no real discussion. It's garbage. Even groups that are focused around art of some kind. But so I was disappointed in many groups like this, even if I joined them hoping that I will be the part of some kind of great community of artists that is inspiring, and I can learn and see all the cool works they make. But I never really found that, and this group feels like it feels like it can provide the things I am looking for. It's great. Looks like they are always willing to provide constructive criticism, and it inspires me to constantly see the works of these people. Many of them already work with bands or worked with many bands, and it is inspiring for me to see the people who, some of them I can say probably they already made it. They work with great bands and they make really cool stuff. This design is it's a mess. I tried so many things. You guys will see at the very beginning of the video the design changed many times, and originally I was trying to keep it legible, and I was going for a really symmetrical lettering and really thick wide letters, like the logo of, what is it called, that band Conan and Orzis. I'm gonna edit the logo of these guys to the screen, and well, it turned out symmetrical, and the letters are wide, and yet I'm not satisfied with it entirely. I'm not sure why, because this is definitely a step out of my comfort zone. Partly because I will never redesign the logo of Billie Eilish, because I don't know, this might sound dumb, but I just, if I don't enjoy the music of someone, I don't want to be associated with them in any way, even if I know that making a redesign of a really popular artist will have a really good social reach by just using the tags of Billie Eilish or whatever the tags are that are connected to her on social media. I mean, that would be beneficial, but I just don't want to create logos for people who make music that I don't enjoy. I mean, I don't say her music is garbage, because I'm really not in a position of judging the art of anyone, or trying to decide the value of the art of someone. It's just not my cup of tea. I'm not the target audience of this. I don't want to talk shit about her, because even if I don't enjoy it and it don't really has any value in my eyes, I'm glad she found something that I'm sure she enjoys making music, and she's really popular. Everyone wins, you know. It looks like it has a skull at the bottom with these big symmetrical horns, but I will add a inverted cross to the bottom of this thing, partly because I think it is really edgy, and I think it has completely lost the effect that it is intended to have, you know, just putting a inverted cross into a logo. I bet it was really fucking rebellious and edgy at some point in time, but nowadays I think it is overused, and it has absolutely zero shock value. It is not shocking or edgy, it's just boring and overused, and it fails to fuck. I mean, it is intended to be shocking, right? Inverting a religious symbol it functions like a punch in, I don't know, God's face or whatever, but it's not working anymore. Bands are doing this since decades. I think maybe like Norwegian black metal kinda take off, I don't know, like early 90s, right? Somewhere around that. The first wave of black metal. I'm not an expert on this subject, so that was like 3 decades ago, and I'm sure those early bands were already putting inverted crosses into their logos, and people are still doing that 3 decades past, and this thing, putting a inverted cross in your logo, I think it is entirely lost the power it had just using the symbol. And it kind of reminds me of her video clips, you know, the music videos of Billie Eilish, because I'm sure they are intended to be shocking or edgy, and I think it is not working. It's all subjective. I'm aware that my opinion it holds very little value, and what I think is not defining the value or importance of her art. So it is harmless. It's just my opinion. Boy. Anyway, it was really pointless to even elaborate on this thing, and I'm not trying to offend anyone who enjoys the music of this person. Anyway, I really like this group so far, and these channels are exciting. Yeah, there are those, I made a list of the designs of those guys. One of them is, sorry if I pronounce the name of any one of you guys wrong, because sometimes I'm just not sure how to pronounce the name of someone, and this is not my native language, so that adds another great percentage of failure or whatever. I don't know. So this design made by Hans Trassid, I think. Sorry if I pronounced your name wrong. This looks really great. I love this. Firstly, I love that this guy did not go with the usual symmetrical approach, because I think it is somewhat easy to design symmetrical metal logos, and making something that is asymmetrical is the hard way. Or at least for me it is more difficult. So I assume, since I'm not really unique and I don't really alter to the average, it must be somewhat easier to create something symmetrical for everyone. And this looks great. It looks like almost something like out of a codex, or a really fucking old book from, I don't know, from the Middle Ages. And compared to the other entries, this is unique, I think, because many people were going for the just a symmetrical, brutal, and not really legible look, which I think it is fine, because these metal logos, I think firstly they don't fuck. The first and most important function of metal logos is not always to be legible. For example, many bands, death metal bands or slam death metal bands or gore grind bands, the logos of those bands are absolutely impossible to read, because they don't function like text. If you know what are you looking for, what letters are you trying to fucking decipher from that chaotic mess these logos are, you can sort of read them, but they are like symbols. They don't really function as text, I think. And I don't have any problem with that, but many people in this contest were going that route, and I think designs like this are harder, and I appreciate when someone takes the harder route. This one is also fucking great. It is not really legible, but it, as I said, it is not needed to be legible, right? I love how it is. These things are like thorns or spiky vines, and I'm not sure if this makes any sense, but this entire thing has a really nice flow to it. All this, especially at on the ends of this design, these swirly fucking. It looks great, and I still struggle to form even basic sentences using this language, so forgive me because of that. I will get used to it, and over time I will be able to express myself more efficiently, but I'm still learning it. This looks great. This is definitely better compared to my entry. I think when I first started to work on this challenge, my first intent was to create something like this. But I'm not capable to create something like this. This guy probably spent great amount of time to just achieve this level, I think. For me it looks intricate, and it looks like everything is in its place, and it looks really nice. Well, for me. People who don't really listen to brutal stuff, or are not really informed about musical subcultures, will probably think this is garbage, because they don't realize that these logos don't really function as text, or because they are used to, I don't know, the logos of artists who make popular music, and those are very legible and very, what's the right word for it, memorizable, I think, because I think the most popular music is very, very marketized. Is that a word? It just functions as a product, I think. And I think bands that are not really popular and they clearly don't earn too much money with making music, or maybe they absolutely don't earn anything at all. Any Maybe they don't get any financial gain by making music. I like those things more because the stuff they create, I think it firstly functions as art. And maybe if they get more popular, it will function as a product. But many underground bands will never reach mainstream success because their music has zero mass appeal, and I think there is nothing wrong with that. I like those bands for what they are. They are not trying to be popular or marketable or easy listening or something that you can easily consume. Anyway, I am just going off track because it is fucking hard to keep my mind in this subject, and I always go off track because I feel like I have so much shit to talk about, and I feel like in my everyday life I don't really have the chance or audience or even a chance. Did I just repeat chance for no reason twice? Anyway, I'm gonna probably cut this out because this format is still really loose, and I'm not sure if anyone will ever watch like a 20 minutes video of me rambling about just vaguely about art. Anyway, this is the last favorite of mine, partly because it's weird how I was almost going for the same thing. There is that vortex in the middle of this, and at one point I was thinking about something like that. Just I wanted to put almost the exact same thing in the middle of my logo, but it was just a bit more like a portal, and I don't know. It's weird how this guy came to the almost the same artistic conclusion, if that makes sense. The same choice I wanted to make, just because it's weird because it's not really common to see a band logo just two words stacked on each other and there is a circular thing just slapped in the middle. And at one point I tried with something like that because the logo I made, it changed a lot during the design process because it felt like it was out of my comfort zone to design something like this, as I said, and I was not sure what I was going for. At one point it looked like a building because there was a record I was thinking about with a cover that depicts this some sort of Japanese looking building that rots. I'm gonna edit the link to this album in the description. Just like when I speak about stuff like this, the same things happen when I draw. It is kinda difficult to keep my attention and my creative energy in just one line that points towards a certain thing. I always go off track and always if I was disciplined, my speech and my creative process would resemble something like a straight line, but I don't have that kind of discipline, so each time when I make a video or I start to draw, it is more like a branching fucking line or whatever, like I don't know, I'm trying to come up with an analogy and I just can't. Anyway, this is probably way too long already. fuck, this contest was great. I'm gonna edit there will be a folder of all the entries. One of the admins of the group will post it, and I'm gonna put a link into the description that leads to that folder. And I don't want to encourage any one of you. Fuck. I don't want to encourage any of my viewers. There are 3 of you guys right now, and it's not much, but I appreciate all 3 of you. And so there will be a link to the entries, and I'm not encouraging any of you to vote on my drawing, because that's fucking lame. Vote on the entry that looks the best for you. That thing that looks the most well made. And if it's not mine, I accept that. Yeah, it is always lame when people are begging to their friends or even strangers to vote for their stuff on some kind of worthless challenge. This challenge is not worthless, and I'm not begging to anyone to vote on my entry. Yeah. Yeah, fuck, I forgot to mention the name of this guy, but I see it is already on the picture. Anyway, all 3 of these things I mentioned, these are great, and give these guys a follow, because I think they deserve it. I looked up other works of these people, and they make really cool stuff, and it inspires me. I want to be like them in this way. I mean, I don't want to copy the personality and the artistic path of these people, but they certainly inspire me. And there are many people in this group. There are like 600 people in this group, and I think it's just the perfect size for a group like this, because maybe I mentioned in the video earlier, but Facebook groups with many members, thousands of members, just if you have a community of people that is really big, just by the law of big numbers, you can't avoid having like a dozen of assholes. If you pick 1,000 random people off the street, there will be someone of those people who is dumb and rude and provides nothing to a community. It is not avoidable. And I was the part of many Facebook groups before that those groups had many members like this, and moderation was not efficient, and this taints many communities online and in real life. And this group is not like that. I fucking love it. Anyway, yeah, this is already too long. I don't think anyone watched it this far, but if you did, thanks for watching, and yeah, thanks for watching.